Welcome to another episode of Life in Focus, where we dive into the world of real estate through real-life experiences and insights from our guests. I'm your host, Ben Tate, and today I'm joined by Andrew Burdick from AB Sports Performance. Andrew, appreciate you coming on, man.
Appreciate you having me. I'm excited.
Absolutely, man. So it's been a while since Andrew and I have been able to sit down and connect and, see what's going on really with both of our lives last decade. We've just both been so busy in different locations. But, Andrew's local to the Tampa Bay area and runs a fitness and sports performance business. And so we're going to dive into a little bit of his world and what he has going on with that. And, there's some ties to real estate, of course, whether you work out of a brick and mortar with your gym, whether you use, fields, whatever the case is. So we'll dive into some of those logistics. But before we get into it all, you want to give us a quick intro about who you are and kind of what led you to AB Sports Performance?
Yeah, sure. So maybe a bird's eye view real quick. I went to Leonard High School, graduated from the second graduating class from Ruskin, right? Like now it's kind of blowing up. We got an NFL player, we got an MLB player, so it's becoming a thing, ended going up to Iowa, play some college football, and passionate, man. That was my jam, and that's where I took a lot of my heart at. And then it kind of fell apart, how it kind of normally does, right? Coaches or whatnot, and kind of depressed for a little bit, and
Sure.
got myself into more fitness. So it was just kind of me learning how I could take my body and do what I wanted to do with it. And concurrently, I was kind of doing the party thing. I graduated, right, and ended up saying I need to go back about 6 months later, and I went and got my master's. At the same time, I was working at the University of Iowa.
Okay.
And that was like a game changer, man. It was just, this is how we do things, and this is the right way, and you're going to look a certain way, and you're going to do a certain thing. And it just was such a learning environment, but it was also, the standards were real. And just, I immersed myself for about a year of learning with that, track and field, basketball, all those guys with the Hawkeyes, a great time.
Yeah.
Had a bunch of great mentors. Kind of going forward, I was like, am I going to continue strength conditioning in a college setting, or am I going to come back home and kind of see what I can do here? Miss Ojero, maybe you remember her, right?
Oh, yeah.
A wonderful lady,
son,
no doubt, right?
Yeah.
And you got to give her a shout out. She's an awesome teacher, man. She, my physics teacher, only one that got me really into education.
Yeah.
Reached out to her on a Tuesday. I'm like, hey, I'm looking for a job. She's like, hey, Turley just left. We got an opening to teach anatomy. I'm like, I don't know anything about it, but let's give it a shot.
Yeah.
Crazy enough, made it happen. One thing led to another. They're like, you look strong. Why don't you help us put a iron club together? So we had like 6 people lifting weights in the Leonard gym, and that was 2016-17.
Okay.
17-18 started, and it grew like 50 people. So I'm like, I need to find a way to, like, that gym is not big enough for 10 people.
Sure.
So I went and talked to connected with a local gym, and I was like, hey man, we're not gonna give you guys any kind of pay, but we'll get you some exposure. The kids gonna be here. It's only from 3 to 5 when it's quiet anyway.
Yeah.
So just some eyes. Social media was taking off. Went from there, and things kind of fell apart there, and just started building my own. Out of the garage, just built, just got some actually local Valor stuff, all that good stuff. And just built the garage little by little, and moved to buying a property in 2020. It was right after the pandemic hit. We were going through it, and then the pandemic hit, and we landed it July 2nd, 2020. Yep, and we did that whole year since. It was kind of nice because we were, inside, if you will.
Yeah.
We, trimmed it all down, took everything out, put a turf field on it. 2021, January 1st, had a turf field, 4,000 square foot, and here we are. Now we're building a gym next 6 to 8 months. So
nice.
No doubt.
So do you still have that same location, or are you moving that location to the next spot, or are you going to have 2 locations?
Nope. So that'll be the same location, right?
Okay.
So right now I'm working out of the garage, which is in Apollo Beach, and then the field, which is in Ruskin.
Okay.
And so right now it's about 1.5 acres, and we got like a corner with the turf field, and then on this closest side will be just kind of like a gym.
Awesome,
now. Yeah, man,
that's
it's crazy.
huge.
It's crazy. It's nuts. Yeah.
And I think that's so powerful too, because I think, again, a lot of people have good ideas, and you have to be actionable on them.
Yeah.
And sometimes, you noted it in your quick intro that you've had a couple, what you would say, things fell apart, right?
Yeah.
And so things fall apart so you can put them back together a little bit bigger and better than last time. And so that's cool that you just had to kind of pull the trigger. I always say there's pull trigger people.
Sure.
And so sometimes just pull the trigger and figure it out from there.
Definitely.
I would say in my own life that's so super applicable as well. It's just like, let's try it. We're going to fall a few times. As long as we get back up, we're okay. And also shout out to Miss Ojero, because I could tell you off camera so many stories with her, and I wouldn't even be sitting here if it wasn't for her. True. And she helped me out in so many different ways. So
No doubt,
super soft spot in my heart for Miss
No doubt,
Ojero.
always. Yep.
So that's what kind of inspired you to start, sports performance, just your history, your experience, taking what you learned from Iowa and your whole life playing sports, bringing it back home. So, what's kind of your fitness philosophy? When I talk to a lot of people that run gyms, they kind of have, I guess, a philosophy, so to speak, that they stick to and kind of differentiates themselves from other trainers. What's kind of your bread and butter and kind of what you tell people is kind of like your MO?
Yeah, so we might go back to Ojera a lot, man, because she, again, allowed me to teach, and I wasn't, again, a teacher by trade. And, I learned so much in the classroom. And so my training is different in terms of our training, because I got a couple employees now, where we're going to teach what you're doing. It's not like, I don't want you to come back and see me every day. If you do, and because you like what I do, awesome, that's great, right? Yeah. And I want to get after every day. But if we got busy lives, we're traveling, we're doing this thing, and you want to get on your own, we want to learn. So I want to teach you what you can do so that you don't need me. I don't want you to have to rely on me to do what you do. So that, I'd say, is the big thing. In terms of the X's and O's, we're going to do some heavy stuff. We're going to move some big things. Not a huge fan like the cardio stuff. That ain't me, right? Yeah. We're going to lift some heavy weight.
It's funny how a lot of fitness people are on that same page.
For sure. I walk. That's my cardio, right?
Exactly. I walk from the car to here.
That's it, exactly, right? So we do a lot of that. But of course, with our gym, we'll have HIIT training and we'll have all that included. But you're not going to see at our gym, we're not going to have, treadmills.
Sure.
Because again, go outside, man, it's beautiful,
Run the field,
right?
Yeah.
No doubt. Go explore a little bit.
Yeah.
So I just say my philosophy is again, we're going to move some heavy weights. So if I was at Iowa, they'd tell me it's very ground based, right? So everything's on the floor, right? Gotcha. I'm not going to be doing a lot of leg extensions and a lot of machine work, because again, I'm working with athletes is the scope we work with.
Sure.
And even, older individuals want to be athletes. Pickleball's making a comeback,
sure,
right?
It is. It's huge.
So you got to use the ground. You got to learn how to use the ground. So we do a lot of ground-based stuff.
Okay.
We like throwing med balls, a lot of power training and stuff. So that's kind of the philosophy with that. But again, I think there's a style for everybody.
Absolutely.
And no matter what, we're going to tailor it to, I got a 74-year-old and I got a 14-year-old. Obviously, they are doing the same things, but it's not quite the same thing.
Different
you know what I'm saying?
So, would you say predominantly you're training groups or individuals, or a good mix of both? Are you targeting one over the other, or kind of what's the plan with that?
Yeah, so we're kind of in the middle of a transition, with the building coming. Where I've been very fortunate. I'm doing a lot more groups lately, and I think that's where we're headed. I would say it's pretty much evenly mixed right now. But we started with the individuals, being in a garage, it's hard to fit more than 2 or 3 people in there, Sure. So just a tough start with that. But I'm doing a lot more traveling, so I get to work with academies. I've worked with Leonard football, Leonard basketball. Brooks,
and they're bringing you in to run a program, run a couple classes, or what's kind of the
so it's more of a program. Gotcha. I would love to, and to get back for me would be if I could somehow run a class for all the athletes at Leonard, that'd be great. But I'm kind of working directly with the head coaches right now, and just using their weight rooms and stuff. Just trying to build that. But like I said, that's kind of where we're headed. But I'd still say we're very much 50-50, 60-40 personal versus group. Yep.
Okay, very good. So I know. I guess let's talk about a little bit of the X's and O's of how you got the space for, I guess the land first. Is that something you purchased the land? Was that something you purchased outright? Did you have to get a loan for that? Did you have to get some private investors? How did you get that? And then how did you get the funding for the new building that you're building?
Yeah, man. So we're still working on the funding. We're in that process with that. But go back to the property now. We were grinding, man. It was... we probably made, 90% of what we needed. And then our personal, our private investor was family member that just hooked it up with the last 10%, right? Paid that back.
If you show them the proof of concept, you put on most of the cash. A lot of people are willing to help somebody that's already trying to help themselves.
Exactly. Yeah, man. And honestly, dude, it's in a spot where, Old Sun City, if you kind of remember that area, right? And it's just... there's no one there right now. Yeah. So we got a hell of a deal. We bought it from a big corporation from Store, right?
Okay.
And they gave us a great deal because they had a lot of things already kind of lined up in the sense of they have piping for water and all that kind of stuff already kind of lined up. But yeah, we just we worked with them for a while. We had our 25% down. And like I said, now we got about we've paid off about half it.
Okay.
And that's only been 3-4 years, so we've been paying a little more, of course, just
sure.
And yeah, that's kind of where we're at with that. There was an old Circle K, it was tiny.
Yep.
And then it moved to the other side of the store. Right now it's much bigger, and we're the old Circle K is pretty much.
So are you doing anything in regards to marketing? Is it mainly word of mouth? What's kind of your goal with that? I know marketing's super tough because you don't want to put money that's not traceable, so to speak, right? Like,
Sure.
how many people are we really getting from this?
Is it coming back?
Is it coming back? So, what's kind of been your game plan with that when it comes to marketing and advertising?
Close my eyes and throw.
Yeah, yeah.
We've done maybe, I don't know, in the 6 years that we've done it, $1,000,
Yeah.
So like we're not
Yeah.
marketing. We're very fortunate, like I said, from more of I've worked with, at this point it's wow, because I've worked with 1,500 kids in my
Sure.
life, so like I don't have to truly like market like I'd say you're normal, because I'm around these kids all the time,
Sure.
and so we've done some Facebook, we've done some Yelp. Yelp worked out really quick for us. We had like a little voucher and paid off real quick, but then after that we kind of fell off. We do a little bit of Insta, but like we really, that's going to be something I think when there's a gym. It's going to be a little different.
Sure.
We're going to have to actually start to put some thought into that, a little better, work. But our marketing is kind of doing it. We go out to Waterset Flag Football. We go out to FTB and work with their kids.
Yeah.
We go out to and so and a lot of times it's pro bono.
Yeah.
So we're going out there to see what we can teach them
Yeah.
or help them. So like. We're still kind of on the ground floor with that grinding, So obviously social media is big, but and we do Instagram, but like it's
Sure.
rather chill.
Well, it's tough too, right? Because obviously advertising and marketing, figuring out what works is tough in any business endeavor. I think gyms are always interesting, right? Because a lot of the well-established national brands or regional brands, if you will, make their money on people that don't even show up, right?
Right.
That's kind of like the cash flow model, that they use. But I do think that people are becoming more turned on to programs, right?
Yeah,
They want. I think people in general just want a path forward, right? Like where can I actually
Steps.
get to? It's like I don't think a number on a scale is even as important as it was maybe 10 years ago when people thought about fitness. They thought about fitness as a number, as opposed to how much muscle to fat do we have? Like, what are our goals? Do we want to lift heavy? Do we want to do this 5K? Are we doing marathons?
That's right.
Am I trying to get to
We
D1
playing ball.
football?
Yeah, right.
We're playing
Exactly.
ball, right?
Yep.
So, like, what muscles do I need to work out? So, I think whether you're a parent looking for programs from your kids or you're, up and coming kid athlete, or even a parent that says, hey, I want to be able to carry my groceries in when I'm 70.
That's right.
I'm 50 now and I'm sore. I hate it.
Right,
So
no doubt, yeah.
I think that marketing around certain programs could be beneficial, but I love the way that you're doing it, because I've always said the best way to market anything, if available and applicable, is through the kids.
Yeah.
Right. And so, for instance, my buddy does basically a competitor to Liquid IV. It's called Lightning Hydration. And he started it 3 years ago. He's getting some real good, he's hitting his goals right now with where he wants to be with that, which is a tough industry to be in.
Sure.
But how he kind of got into it was going to the kids first, right? So you get the ADs on board, you get the football coaches on board, you get the whole athletic department on board buying your hydration drink.
Exactly.
Then one school sees it work for you, then the whole county's getting on it, And so I think if there was some way, I think you kind of already are doing it right now by doing some guest programs at these different
Exactly.
schools and stuff like that. But there's probably so many creative things that you could probably do that, again, everyone has creative ideas, so sometimes the execution is like harder,
Actually,
easier,
yeah,
easier said than done. But I'm just thinking, there's probably so many cool things you can do, and even like partnering up with other people, back in the day, it was common to, if you had extra open space at your gym, you'd partner up with like a yoga instructor or something like that. And I still think that
100%.
spin classes is big now, and like different, again, people want
Anything,
programs,
man,
specialized
no
programs,
doubt.
So
Definitely.
I think you're in the right spot, right time. And it's just to you have a
Day
blank
by
canvas
day,
now,
baby.
Yeah,
Yes,
so that's
sir.
awesome.
Yeah, man.
So what kind of trends and stuff are you seeing on your end from a training perspective, and
Yeah.
how do you keep yourself up to date on things like that?
Reading, right? Like a lot of reading, right? Things I never would do in school.
Yeah.
You learn. But no, honestly, you're hitting on actually a lot of it. It's funny you're saying it, man. The trends really are a program. I want to know where I'm going. Like everyone wants to go to Miami, but if I want to go to Miami from New York, it's a hell of a lot different than California,
Sure.
right? So I need to know where I'm coming from, where I can go. So people want to know that's big, and of course the classes. I think everyone wants a community now. I do think those box gyms, while they're not dying, they're becoming. There's more people getting into the market.
Yep.
And I think that the majority of the people that are actually, about it and want to really get after it, they're finding the more the niche.
Yep.
Whereas if someone just, it's just kind of,
Yeah.
I'm gonna lift because it's cool or whatnot.
Yeah.
But I think I'd say like the biggest trend, which I'd say maybe is the overarching just thesis for all of it is social media.
Yeah.
Man, they're seeing someone lift 500 pounds, 600 pounds, or they're seeing a lady do whatever, backflips and stuff. And like, I want to do that,
Yeah.
and I think it's a gift and a curse, as a teacher, you see these kids want to, squat on a Bosu ball, or they want to do all these things, which, there's whatever, right? At least
Yeah.
you're moving, right?
Yeah.
But, that's not why Kobe Bryant was Kobe Bryant. That's
Right.
not why Tom Brady, so it's a great thing, and these trends are awesome because we want to display that we're doing what we're supposed to be doing,
Right.
and look at me, and it's probably good now from college standpoint,
Sure.
right? They want to see you working out if
Yeah.
it's an athlete. But again, it goes the other way too, where like it looks cool on Instagram, but like you could easily hurt yourself,
Sure.
or you're not doing anything, and,
Right.
and now you just wasted an hour of everyone's time, those kind of things. So, but I would say like really it comes down to everyone seeing it, and it's just in everyone's ear, and it's great because I think we have to, right? We got to go one way as a
Yeah.
country. We got to get healthier. I
Yeah,
mean, it's
absolutely.
it's clear that we're just. There's a lot of problems here when it comes to health, and
Yeah.
I'll say one last thing about that, which I thought was an awesome transition in my mind. 2002, I went to BioFit in Orlando, and that was a great place, like another niche gym, and the topic that we were talking about was how we are the first step in healthcare, and I never thought about that way, right? Because I'm getting strong, I'm gonna jump higher, but like really, if we're starting to work with the 74-year-olds and the 60-year-olds, like you said, it really is carrying these groceries. Right? I don't need
the practical things.
No doubt.
Yeah.
One of my ladies speaking, a good story, man. It was awesome. She's 74 years old. Candy. She's an awesome young lady, but. They had like a duck stuck in like a grate on the ground, man, and she lifted it up, things like that you couldn't do before, right?
Yeah.
And it is almost, you can make yourself a superhuman, and people are starting to see that it's not just that guy who did it, and
Right.
like it's not just Arnold anymore,
Yeah.
right? Everyone has a chance if you want to put the time in, if you want to go get it,
Absolutely. Yeah, I think it's a good point too, because I think a lot of times, even my relationship with fitness has been skewed. It's like it was such it was a lifestyle really for most of my life, inherently with all the sports that I played. And then you lift weights in that course of playing that sport. And even if you're not lifting weights, you're playing 2 or 3 sports at a time sometimes, and inherently that keeps you pretty fit.
Sure.
Then you get into college, and most people that go into college fit stay pretty fit, at least through their first couple of years of college, because again, you're playing intramurals, you're playing sports, whatever. And then you get to 21, I'd say. I don't know if the correlation between drinking age or not, but you're drinking age, you're graduating school, you're getting into the real world. Yep. Now you got to prioritize something that was part of your lifestyle previously, right? Yep. But I think a lot of times we thought about fitness as like, I need to do it because I'm playing a sport, or I need to do it because I'm bodybuilding or whatever. And I think now it's, like you said, it's more about health.
For life, yeah.
And if we're working so hard to be successful in our, different silos, it's like, well, why don't we got to be healthy to maintain that success or even see that success through, So,
Definitely.
It's something that, for me, I built out a home gym because a lot of my excuses came from either convenience or time. And I've always been a proponent, growing up frugal, growing up humble, is like, if you spend $1 on it, we're going to use that thing.
That's right. That's right.
So like, I know some people, they can buy the things and it just collects dust, but I'm pretty good about the things that I buy. It's like, I got to use it because I took the time to buy it.
Love it.
So I knew just having that, obviously you're not going to get the same program, not even close to what I would go into a fitness instructor, but that was my first step at just at least prioritizing health and be like, listen, I can't walk past this, set up taking the dog out every day without touching it. You know what I'm saying?
Exactly.
So, and again, just a starting point, but other people, it could be just like, hey, go take a 15-minute walk at lunch and take 15 minutes to eat.
That's it.
Instead of taking 30 minutes to eat. It's just like, let's just get movement. What I mean, for some of the success stories and some of the people that you've trained for a little bit now, what are some good habits that you see, average speaking, on the average person that, we could, the average person can take away?
Yeah, definitely. And it comes, again, it all kind of comes full circle. It's the schedule, right? Like you schedule this into your life, whether you're playing a sport or not. This is just as much a part of it as anything else. But then it's also sleep. And then it's also how are you eating?
Yeah.
So the ones that really take off with their success are the ones that are doing it all. And they are tracking their food, and they're telling me, and then when not only that, when you say, hey, let's adjust this a little bit, they actually adjust, right?
Yeah.
Where 60% probably don't, or they do a little bit, but like for a day,
fully. Yeah.
right, or for a week, and it's the ones that do it for the 6 months. I'm like, damn, you know, like, because I'm starting to get to the point now, you know, where a majority of my clients are about 3 to 4 years, you know, and so you can see those big changes, you know, but again, the ones that I see them every week, same time, you know, so it comes down to how do you build your schedule, you know,
consistency.
It's it, and like you said, another kind of trend is having a coach to kind of do that to you. We all need a coach, right? I need a coach, obviously, for real estate, man. You know, I'm doing what I can, but I only know so much. And I think the ones that take coaching is probably obviously, right? Like that's just like
already coachable,
already coachable. But again, then they bring it all the way through, and they do it, and they do it every day, every week, you know. I have people on Thanksgiving, I have people on Christmas, right? Like, and I'm working with them. I'm the one I'm like, let's go. Like, I'm gonna be like, what am I gonna do? You know, I got a baby, but he'll come hang with us, man. He gonna get right on in here, right? You know, so like it don't matter what day it is. You know, we're gonna go get it, and we do, and like I said, the ones that really show up and show out,
they see the progress, they see the work of the efforts. That's awesome.
So back to a little bit on the business side of things. You said that you hired a couple of people. When did you know that the time was to hire them? Was it just because you had a certain amount of people in your program, a certain amount of clients you're working with? You know, as a business owner, one of the toughest steps is knowing when to hire and hiring right. Sometimes the best hire is a quick fire, right?
Sure.
If it's not a good relationship, not a good fit, right? So
for sure.
How'd you go about finding the people to work with, and how'd you know it was the time to find those people?
Yeah, so man, just like everything else, I got lucky, man. I got no clue what I'm doing. We're gonna figure it out as we go, right? Like that's what it comes down to. But just through the business, I got some professors' names and stuff, and got some interns.
Okay.
So I got an intern in 2021, the same year we opened up the outdoor turf, and that got me that connection at Tampa, at the University of Tampa. And then the next year I had the guy who we ended up hiring, but he worked for me for 6 months, got to see how it was, you know, as an intern. And it just became how I knew was I couldn't be at 3 places at one time. You know, I just needed someone at a spot to lock down, you know. So, you know, and both those guys kind of, you know, funny enough, are from UT, are still kind of work with me off and on. It's very much, you know, contract type position. And again, it just allows us to expand our reach. But yeah, I mean, once it became that, you know, there's only so many, you know, hours in a day. And once, you know, I'm not to brag or anything like that, but like I'm probably on an average week, I'm 60 hours. Right. Like, and that's nothing to me. Like,
and that's part of owning your own
business. That's right. It's what it is, man. Like, it's great. Right. But like, and it's much better than 80 hours because I've been there too. Right.
Absolutely.
You know, so like we're just trying to get that down to 40, you know, and all these kind of things where, so once I kind of,
big.
Exactly. And it's finding those right people, you know, but we definitely have a lot of, like I said, younger cats that are kind of coming up that I like to see. And we still got 1 or 2 more that we're looking for. But just because I couldn't be there. And now it'll be, the gym's going to be running. So now we need those kind of things to be filled and stuff. So that'll, again, develop here too in the next 6 to 8 months.
And a cool thing you can do, like into perpetuity, no time, not like there's a rush to do this, but, you know, the more you have trainers that stay with you long term, that, you know, you really like with, is good vibe, they're good coaches, they're all in on the programs that you want to run, almost like giving them some level of ownership from the standpoint of have it be more incentive-based contract pay to where they're the ones tasked with doing the marketing to bring people in, right? So you have 5 trainers and each 5 is bringing in 100 people to your gym. You know, now you got 500 people
100%.
Without you having, you know, that way you're kind of delegating that. And obviously, again, there's 100 ways to cut the cake, but a lot of times when you put that onus on the trainers, they inherently feel like they have ownership in what they're doing. It's like, oh man, this is my team, you know, my crew. These are my classes that I have, you know.
Yeah, no doubt. Speaking of the Orlando, and again, I'm still learning about all of it, but like even giving some equity of business, man. I love that idea because again, who's going to buy it if they don't have skin in the game?
Exactly.
You know, you got to have
want them to care as much as you do.
That's right. That ain't gonna happen, but you know, get close, right?
Yeah, those are the you know, the Class A employees that 100%. You find 1 out of 10, you're happy.
Exactly,
you know?
right. So, we'll hold on to that one, but yeah, man, no doubt.
Yeah, absolutely. So, what are some other things you wanted? I know obviously having the building's huge, but you know, where are some other big goals that you see the business taking, or you know, in no certain time frame? I know sometimes we have goals that are 5 years down the road, 10. I have the same thing. So I would just say in the next couple of years, you know, the building's up and running. Obviously, you're going to probably step up some of the advertising and marketing, but where, you know, if you're trying to shoot high, like you know, what are some things that you'd like to implement or have done? Yeah,
definitely, man. I mean, I think if we're saying like more of that 5-year term, I'd love to have another one. I think that y'all were talking earlier about the development, and like again, because we're, you know, bootstrapping this up, man, I don't have anyone really besides myself, my wife. You know, so we're learning a lot of it as we go. And it's a pain so far. But I feel like if I can do it the first time, it can't get any harder.
It won't be.
I was just saying, right? So, like, I'd love to do it again. Of course, we got to get the first one running.
Yeah.
But, like, that would be
none of your same problems will be harder.
That's right.
You're going to have new problems, which inherently will be harder.
That's right. Exactly. You know right. Exactly.
Because now you're going to have a scale thing where it's like, oh, how many managers do we need? Yeah. Payroll, insurance, all those fun stuff.
For sure.
But anything that... That's why people don't understand, like, everything you've been able to accomplish this far in your life is because you took the time to learn it or somebody took the time to teach you. Either way, once you learn how to do it, you never looked back and said that was hard.
Right.
It might have took hard work to get done, but it wasn't hard. Yeah. Maybe physics, but like,
but up, baby.
But you know, like most things, it's like, oh, like I just didn't know how to do it, you know, and so it seems like a lot of what you've done, you didn't know how to do it when you got into it.
Definitely,
you've self-taught, self-educated, or researched, which again, that's how we're going to have to get through a lot of things, right? But, you know, and I'm hoping with this podcast, people hear different things and say, hey, I want to Google this thing while I'm on the couch. I want to Google this and, like, look into that. Or,
that's it.
You know, and so it's interesting. You meet a lot of people that are super, they love fitness, right? They do work out 1 or 2 a day. They're either working towards something, bodybuilder, marathon, or just a personal, you know, goal that they have. But you know, it's not as simple as I can cut hair, I'm going to open a barbershop. Right. So I think you have to have that fitness as part of your lifestyle. But I think coaching it is a different level. You have to be almost mission driven for it to actually be authentic and work. Right. So you kind of have that perfect blend of like, you were an athlete, fitness has always been a part of your MO. You were a teacher. Being able to teach something means you have to master it to a degree to teach that thing. You have to have education and you have to have accountability to be actively staying up with the new trends, the new fitness, the new science that's coming out. Because some things that are, you know, the pyramids no longer the food pyramid that we look, you know, so it's like you have to be up to date with latest things that come on. And obviously, you know, we have cool podcasts like the Huberman Lab and certain things like that can invoke certain things for you to research and look up. But, you know, how have you kind of, you know, found that happy medium between, you know, this is like your lifestyle that you like, whether you're getting paid for it or not. And then also being like that coach.
Honestly, you know, there is no balance right now. I'll be real. I completely real. Right? It's just not. It'll come. It'll come in due time. I love powerlifting. Like that's where I went. Fortunately and unfortunately, my freshman year in college, I was pretty much trained by a powerlifter. So like my squat got big, my deadlift got big, my bench got big, but like I couldn't play football any better, right? Which was still cool though. Now it's cool, right? I don't need to throw football too much. But like, so I really fell in love with that, you know, and I was pretty good, man. I was like international level. You know, I got to compete in the worlds. It was very fun. But that was in 2018, and that was like the last time I really got after it, you know, just because things take their time. I'd love to get back. You know, maybe a couple more years I'll be a master, right? After like 45 years old, I get to get bumped up a little bit, you know, so I got a couple years for that. But, you know, I kind of pushed it away, you know, but here's a cool little story, a little anecdotal thing. 2 weeks ago, man, I don't know, a year and a half ago, I was at EOS and I was trying to hit the hundreds. I only hit 2. Not great, right? Yesterday, I bought some this past week and for the gym and got 5 of them. But again, I haven't been training like that, right? So like, but because I'm doing it every day, whether it's focused training or just I show up, I'm like, it looks cool today, because sometimes it's what it is, you know? But those acts over time, I'm like, damn, okay. So and I'm not trying, you know what I'm saying, like that. But yeah, so the balance isn't quite there. I will get back because I do love it. I have a lot of passion still for that, man. You know, like we're still young, right? We still got to go get it a little bit, and you know, it's something that once you build strength, this is kind of maybe a philosophy going back to that question. You can't take it away. That's something no one can take from you ever. You know. And it's just, I think, again, it's fascinating, right? So, like, I would like to get back into it, but really, my time is a lot of my people's time right now. And that's business, okay, right? And that's cool.
That's part of it, you know? And so, you know, kind of on that topic, for somebody else that loves fitness that says, hey, I might want to start my own gym, what's, you know, some key advice that you would give them? Do you think, because I think you starting it out of the garage, so to speak, or starting it at other people's gyms, I think that's the way to go, in my opinion, because you're proving the concept. You're seeing if you are even good at the thing you want to do. Because that's the thing too. I think underrated talent is being self-aware. Right? Because you're not supposed to be great at anything that you've never done before. but after doing it for, I would say, some people say 10,000 hours. I think it's 10,000 to master something.
Yeah, definitely.
I think you can do 100 tries or 100 days to see like, hey, am I even cut out to be a coach?
Right.
Am I even cut out to be a leader of men or individuals?
Yep.
It takes a talent. It takes, hiding the ego and the pride sometimes,
Definitely.
especially when it comes to weightlifting, right?
Yeah.
It's a tough thing,
A lot
right?
of times, yeah.
So, what kind of advice would you give somebody that's like saying, like, hey, I think I really want to do this, want to open up my gym? Should they start with what they have now? Obviously, there's still some level of investment. Even if you're starting your own garage, you still got to invest in the equipment and make it safe and still get the word out there. So it's not like you're just, it's not like it's a free way to start business, but I think it's a less risky way to see if you can even do it.
Yeah, I mean, I think, it's always good if you can have a space to have it, but I don't think that's, like you said, feasible for a lot of people.
Yeah, financially. Yeah.
Right, definitely. And I think that, we're lucky we got a 2-car garage. So, like, our gym is, like, or our garage is a gym. Like, it ain't a garage no more. Like, you're not putting no cars in there, right?
Yeah,
It's got 2 racks. Like, it's all but my point, what I would say with what I would give the advice would be more or less, go do it, and I would say do it for free. Go find somewhere I can do it for free, and I can learn from that, whatever that 100 tries you want, and see if do I really like this, right? Now, if they're gonna pay you, take the money, right? But no matter what, go to a place that's high level, right? Don't
get
come
some reps.
That's
No
right.
pun
That's it. 100%, right?
Yeah.
Get your reps in and see, do you really like this? Because it is tough. Like, there's been days, man, 16-hour days where I'm talking 12 sessions in a day, right? And you're gonna find out real quick if you like it.
Sure.
And it is. I'd probably, from a business standpoint, it's probably a lower overhead, honestly. But is it worth your time? I think that's where the training aspect is probably harder than some businesses, because if I'm not doing it, but the big piece of advice I'd say, if you really are interested in doing it, I think that's number one. But like just saying, I don't even want to do that, I'm going to go to this and I'm going to do my own.
Yeah.
Find somewhere online, man.
Yeah.
I think the online training is becoming a big thing. There's so many of these programs built for, all right, Ben, here's your program. This is what Monday looks like. This is what Wednesday looks like. This is what Friday looks like. Report to me on Friday, whatever. And it's all pretty and stuff now. It keeps all your weights that you did. It'll tell you this is what someone in France did. Like, so you have other ways to like compete.
Yeah.
Can't kind of keep that edge to yourself. But man, I've seen a lot of people with, maybe they're not the best of coaches.
Sure.
But they're making a business, right? So I'm not gonna hate on that, But online is great because you don't need a lot of that.
Absolutely.
Eckhart Tolle, love that dude, man. That's what it is, right? Like we're gonna continue changing our perspectives.
Yeah.
But like I appreciate all of that, right? Like, and it is true. And at some point, it's a fault too, though, right? Like you should be more grateful about where you're at and excited about it. But sometimes when you're driven in a certain way, you're not.
Right.
And it's not going to be good enough. And I hope, to me personally, like, again, some other people maybe not. I hope it's never good enough.
Yeah.
I hope that I'm always going to be like, it's never good enough, right? And because I'm driven that way, and I want the people around me to be driven that way because there is a lot to go get now. And I think, with how our society is, kind of like you said, man, I don't think there's gonna be a lot of people working for people anymore. It's gonna be kind of like
American dream.
It's it, and that's what's hopefully happening here soon. Is becoming much more. You get it, and no one wants to work for a business. My mom worked for Fireman's Fund for 34 years.
Yeah.
I don't think there's more than 2% of people in the world that have worked for a business for 30 years anymore.
No, exactly.
It's jumping in.
It's a dying breed, and the thing is too is like I don't think it's always about owning your business. Sometimes for some people, because everyone has a talent to do so.
Sure.
But you can work hard. I always say, if you don't know what you want to do what you're best at in the moment, because that's what you'll get paid the most for.
There you go.
Right?
Yeah.
And then when you're getting paid the most for something, inherently you should have some disposable income that you can use for investments to help make some money while, again, you're deciding what you want to do in life. And then once you know what you want to do in life, regardless of what you get paid for that thing, if you've made money doing what you were best at up until that point, you should have money to make that transition responsible.
Yeah, man.
So it's just, again, a lot of it always, I know it sounds like a dead record, but it's just making lists and actually writing down what you want to do. I don't think we can, even the smartest person can't keep all their ideas in their head. No. You got to put them to paper. You got to put them in your phone pad.
Yep.
That way you can work off them. It's like, if I put 10 things I want to get done in the next month, if I put them on a pad, then I can like break all those 10 things down and be like, all right, there's 4 bullet points on this. Like sometimes you delete them, like, oh, that's not applicable. I don't want to do that anymore. Right. But you don't even know what you want to do because you haven't done enough research into it or whatever the case is.
Man, I'm old school though. I'm thinking, I want to write that sucker down.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I mean, it helps so much, and then you can think off that. You can't think when you got so much stuff in your head. But I guess to kind of close us out here, what's the biggest lesson you've learned this year in business, and what's the biggest goal you have for next year? And maybe next year is just finishing the project you started this year with the building.
Sure.
But when you look back this time next year, what do you want to have accomplished in a perfect world?
Yeah, so next year I said SOPs, man. That's going to be big, right? So like, obviously, I'm running most of the business at this point, but that's not the goal. So me understanding how to, or learning how to create those processes that we're going to follow as a business. Don't have a lot of that. Again, I'm a gunslinger, man.
Right.
So like a lot of stuff I just figured out as I go on. It failed a lot, and it works for me.
Yeah.
But it ain't going to work for everybody.
Sure.
So that would be my biggest goal that I'm looking forward to next year. I mean, a lot of it will still be on me. And what was the other question you got?
Just what was the biggest lesson you learned this year?
That's your lesson, yeah. Shoo, man.
Was it how to manage your time? Was it that you were spending too much time on things that didn't have a big impact on what your end goal was?
Yeah.
Was it learning how to? I know you don't have balance when you're a business owner, but was it maybe finding balance between family and business, which is always a blended line?
Yeah, no doubt. Yeah, it is. It's tough. Yeah.
So,
no, I'd say probably the time management, and I feel really good about it this year. Like I said, because it has dropped. 60 hours sounds like it's a lot, but
no, it's trust me, I know.
Yeah, no doubt. I know. If you know, right?
Yeah.
But man, I've really learned how to kind of prioritize what's really important. Like I used to make these fancy programs, right? We're gonna do this with bands, and we're gonna do this with this, and like cool, that's cool. But like you're gonna get the same results out of just like doing a heavier squat or something, So like it's very much skeleton like, and then if we do make it individualized, that's when it becomes that way. But again, I'm not gonna sit there and try to create a whole new for it's just
understanding where your time's
that's
actually
needed
and stuff like that.
And really, I could write the same program for you and anyone else, and if I'm not there to coach it, it might be completely different anyway. So like, because I am starting to get more to that online side of things, so I'm learning that all these pretty programs online, they don't quite translate. They might not have this cool thing. They might not have, or they don't know how to perform it, because there's a lot of communication going back and forth, But yes, I'd say that's probably a big thing. It's just let's get them the basics. The ones that want to be that person, that's right, they'll lead themselves down that, and then we'll meet them where they're at. But at first, like let's make it as simple as possible. Let's build the consistency, and once you do that, like it rolls.
Yeah, takes care of itself.
Exactly.
Yep, that's awesome. So where can people find you? Website, socials. What's the best way to get in contact with you?
Yeah, so AB Sports Performance. You can find us on Instagram. You can find us on Facebook. absportsperformance.net is our website. And but yeah, we're in Ruskin. Keeping it homegrown. Grew up there, lived there the whole time. So we're really we want to see people out there. Even though the online is a thing, we want to see people out in my hometown, in your hometown, right? And, that's where I'd like to see it. But, yeah, any kind of the YouTubes. We got a YouTube.
Sweet.
You look at AB Sports Performance. We're starting to get there. You'll find something somewhere.
Yeah,
but
like you said, consistency.
Yeah, exactly, yeah. So we do all that kind of stuff.
Awesome. Well, appreciate you taking the time to come over here with your busy schedule.
Yeah, man.
Hopefully didn't add too many hours to your 60-hour week.
Well, the driving nowadays, man, you ain't going anywhere without adding hours.
Yeah, exactly. So very grateful for your time. And like I said, we'll have you on multiple times. The whole goal is to have the guests that we have on multiple times each year just to do progress updates. And I know as a business owner, things change by the day, by the week, by the month. So just kind of seeing what your goals are at that point, and especially when you get the grand opening of the new space. So again, very appreciative. Looking forward to continued success and growth. And this is the fun part, man. So
appreciate you, dude. Appreciate you.
Yeah, absolutely, man. So until next time, everyone. Thanks.